Okay, so you're probably wondering what does. So anyway, this guy that no one knows him today, but he was really big when I was starting my family. And this guy that wrote this book is writing about his own father. It's interesting how God uses tragedy and disappointment and failure for him. So he's writing about his dad. It's a big, long section. I'm just reading two paragraphs. I grew up in a home with an oak tree right in the middle of the house. It wasn't a red oak, a black oak, or even a white oak. It's the kind of oak described in Isaiah 61:3, and it's called an oak of righteousness. I'm referring to my dad. Please note that I didn't call him an oak of perfection, but in my opinion, he is an oak of righteousness. I've watched my dad now for 50 years. He has never been in full-time ministry. He was and is a businessman. I've seen my dad weather some tough storms. Those of you in real estate know that it tends to be feast or famine. All I've known is famine. Anyway, when my dad was in his early 40s, he lost everything. Wiped out financially, he had to start all over with 3 boys ready to enter college. It's one thing to be at square one when you're 21. It's quite another when you're 43. I watched him as he saw everything he had collapse. He went from having assets to having nothing but liabilities. He went from a new spacious home to a small apartment. He literally went from a Cadillac to a Volkswagen. He went from being near the top of the ladder to the bottom. That's hard on a man. Every day when my dad got up, misery and disappointment were waiting for him. I think of misery, I think of joy as misery, and of Jace as disappointment. Most of us deal with failure, with fear and failure, but my dad actually experienced business failure. I'm sure he was embarrassed and humiliated. That's how I would have felt. Some of you reading this know exactly what it feels like because you're currently going through some. Anyway, so he describes this, and I totally missed that. I never saw that. And this was, he goes on to say how formative it was for him to see his dad go through this. But like an oak in a storm, he was impressed with the fact that his dad weathered it. And so God put, but one could say that if Steve Farrar's dad hadn't gone through that, Steve Farrar would have been living a really wealthy life, and he may not have built the character and the depth that he has. So I read this book 3 times, never noticed that his dad was a realtor. So out of that, and out of Josh, huh? Yeah. Well, I was educated overseas. That and Josh Man inviting Stephen and Kiddo and Jason and I to the firing range. It's called firing range. It was called firing range. Mm-hmm. I have an idea, and that's what I wanted to pitch tonight. And I was waiting for like 3-4 weeks, and I just couldn't wait any longer because I was like a bust out like a bad zit or something. The idea of Stephen, Kiddo, Jace, I want to start a group called The Appointment. And through marriage, I'm losing daughters left and right. I've lost one to the Nolan family, and I'll never get her back. This month, Josh, next month, I'm losing Jacqueline to the Pata family, and I'll never get her back. So I said to myself, what kind of revenge can I come up with? So the point men are going to be Joseph men. So just for the one event, they're going to be my sons. I'm going to call them Josephs. And I was thinking a couple times a year, we'd go out to dinner, eat meat with our hands, preferably, and plan stuff like the shooting range, or boating, or fishing, manly stuff. So it's called The Point Men, and it's based on this book, but we're going to get together as a group, and I think it would be cool if Josh could wake up in the morning knowing that if he's got something he needs, Kiddo's there for him, Stephen's there for him, Jace is there for him. It's great for Jace to grow up knowing that he's got brothers who are really brothers-in-law, but since we're all Josephs, that are there for him. And I thought, what a cool network to have. And, you know, through seniority, Kiddo is the first one. And even though Kiddo comes across as kind of an arrogant, cocky, selfish pig, down deep is a very kind and very warm and very generous guy that I always remember. When he was a little kid, he was always smiling. He couldn't stop smiling. He was deaf, so all he could do was smile. But he had this bubbly, sunny personality. And I'll never forget, he came back from Japan one time by himself, and he had a suitcase. It was like 80% full of gifts for others. And then Stephen, an unbelievable generous spirit that you have. You're always trying to help out other people. You always see the need of others and you fill it. A true example of servant leadership. And Josh, I'm looking forward to getting to know you better and to see this side of you that's very generous and very helpful. And I thought, what a great thing to do. Start a group called Point Men. We get together a couple of times a year. We eat meat with our hands, and we plan the next event. So Josh, you planned the first one, which is our shooting range. And then we'll get together, and if anyone has an idea, we'll get together, we'll plan it, and I'll pay for it. I'll pay for the event. All I ask is that I don't have to participate. That's all. That's the only thing I ask. And so to wrap it up, Josh, welcome to the family. Before you get married, you have to read this book. There will be a test the night before the wedding, with 75 questions on a Scantron. You fill out the questions. Multiple choice. And thank you for coming up with the idea of the shooting range. And we will have fun doing it. And Stephen is going to say something?
No, sorry.
So anyway, that was my special thing tonight. Sorry you couldn't be here, Josh. But tonight I'm initiating the Point Men, the Joseph Men, and we are going to use this book as a template. And the main thing, it's all about making life better for our wives and making life better for our children. And the concept of Point Men is in the military, there's a group of people, he was in Vietnam, a group of people walking down, and the guy in front, the Point Men, if the enemy could get him, take him out, you could take away the whole group. The enemy wants to take the men out of families, then you get the wife and you get the kids. But the Joseph Men are not going to let that happen. And we're going to create a bond and a structure to raise our kids and raise our wives. Thanks for watching. Back to you in the studio.